Double smoked boneless ham? Wait, what? Hey friends, Grill Father Johnny Al here, and today I'm going to make you a double smoked ham that you can't refuse. That's right, you heard me. We're going to take a ham that was smoked once and we're going to smoke it a second time. Hey folks, if this is your first time visiting the channel, we want to give you a great big Texas North welcome. Hey, Texas North Barbecue and Griddle is open. Let's go inside and start to make some barbecue. I'll be right back.
We are live from my backyard where I am smoking these meat like a brisket. I'm making meat now. Someone asked me, do I smoke meat? That's gonna be delicious. Yeah, I smoke meat, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Welcome back, folks. So today I have a ham here that I picked up at Walmart. It's almost 5 pounds, 4.8 pounds, and this is a hickory smoked ham. So it was already smoked one time. It's ready to heat and eat, but we're going to smoke it on the Pit Boss, and we're going to use maple wood and smoke it a second time. And what that is going to do is the maple wood is going to complement the hickory wood, and it's going to add another layer or level to the flavor profile. And it's all about the flavor profile no matter what you're smoking. So just wanted to show you on the poster here, this is where the ham comes from. It comes from the hind end or the butt of the pig, not to be confused with the pork shoulder that is often referred to as the Boston butt. So it's kind of confusing if you're new to barbecue, but we'll do a whole nother video on the Boston butt. But so in the meantime, this is where we're looking at getting the ham from, right here in the hind end of the pig. So why boneless? Why am I going with boneless? Well, I acknowledge that a bone-in ham may be more juicier and more flavorful, maybe if you do it right. But you know, with the bone removed, this is sealed tightly in here, and what you have is a nice compact piece of ham. All of the difference is that the bone is missing. So it's a pretty affordable cut of meat. And the thing is with the bone-in ham, let's face it, it's hard to cut with that bone in there. And you're not going to get nice slices of meat. They're going to be chopped up, and you're going to leave a lot of ham left on the bone. So I like to get nice smooth slices no matter what I'm cooking. And what you're going to end up with is a 95% yield, more or less, maybe a percent or two different, because all you're going to do is slice off the front piece and the back piece, and everything else is going to be edible. So I like the fact that I get a high yield out of this, and just by cutting off the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this out of the packaging. I am going to take a paper towel, pat dry it, and then we'll get into the prep. So we have the ham all dried up, and as you can see, it's a beautiful cut. And really the prep is very easy. I am going to use a binder on this ham, and what I like to use is duck fat as my binder. And you can get this online. I will put a link down in the description. And as a matter of fact, everything that you need for this cook, I will list in the description as well. And you can use any binder. I happen to like the duck fat. It's a little bit of a healthier version than some of the oils that you would put on. And one other thing I wanted to share with you is that I always cook on a cooling rack. And it just makes things easier to transport, putting onto the smoker and taking off, and it's always nice and clean. So I always have a clean surface when I put the meat on the smoker. So I'm just going to spray this down all over, give it a good coat, so that the binder binds. And what I use I'm going to be using in this cook is my all-purpose homemade rub, and I'm just going to give it a nice, generous coat the whole way around, and try not to lose too much from falling off and being wasted. It's a little bit tricky when you have a piece that has rounded edges to it. So we'll just give it a nice coat on here, and I like to pat it in to try to um, keep the rub from falling off as best as possible. And then what this will do is this will complement the flavor profile as well. And what I'm going to end up doing then is putting this to bed overnight in the refrigerator. And what that will do, that purpose of that is we will let the ham develop a pellicle, which is a coating of proteins on the surface. What that will do when it comes time to do the cook, it will trap the moisture in overnight and keep it in during the cook. And also the pellicle will help the smoke adhere to the meat. So I'm going to put this to bed for the night, and I will see you tomorrow morning, and we'll get this beautiful piece of meat on the smoker. The next day, and the ham was resting overnight. So now we're going to look at what the game plan is for today. What I always use for my cooks is the Texas North Barbecue and Griddle Cook Log. And this is an extremely important cook management tool that I use for every cook, and it is going to help me stay on track and monitor things throughout the day. So what I'm going to do right now is give you the sheet, show you the sheet of how I'm going to manage the cook today. But before I do that, I just want to talk about the 4 T's, what I call the 4 T's of successful barbecue. And what they are is taste, tenderness, texture, and the 4th and most important T is technique. And if you don't get the technique right, then your taste and tenderness and texture likely won't be the way you want them to turn out. So technique is critically important. You might say, well, what about the T of temperature? Well, temperature falls under the category, falls under the T of technique, both the internal temperature that we want to get the meat to, as well as the cooking temperature. So temperature falls up under technique. So let's take a look at our cook plan for today in a little more detail. Here's a closer view of my game plan for today. We're going with the Pit Boss smoker, and we're going to be making the double smoked boneless hickory ham. And we bought one at Walmart. It was 4.8 pounds. It was fresh when I purchased it yesterday. We prepared it by using the duck fat binder and the all-purpose barbecue rub. And we're going to be smoking it a second time with a maple wood. I am planning to use a water pan for today's cook. And I put a note here to remind myself to put a piece of foil on the large end of the ham at some point during the cook, to kind of keep that piece from getting too charred. We're looking at smoking today at around 250 degrees, and we're looking for an internal temperature of 145 degrees, and that'll tell us when the ham is done. So the smoker is about up to the temperature that we want to cook at today. It's out there ready to go. And I just wanted to speak a moment about the wood that I'm using today. I'm using maple wood. Now, as you recall, we said that the ham was already smoked with hickory wood, and that gave it sort of a strong taste, a strong smoky flavor already. What we're going to do is add to that flavor profile by adding a layer of maple wood smoke to it. And the maple wood is more of a sweet and mild flavor. So the two will complement each other and should give us a really good, flavorful, and tasteful product at the end. And you can use other types of wood, peach, apple, cherry, pecan. It's really up to you and your preference and taste. But today, and I've used those in the past, but today I'm just going to go with the maple wood. So let's head out to the smoker, and we'll get the ham going. So I have the Pit Boss 1100 smoker up to temperature. We're going to 250 today. So we're ready to put the ham on. And I am going to place this as far to the right as I can, closest to the smokestack, and where the smoke will be flowing over and exiting. I don't need to have it in the middle. I wanted as much smoke penetration as possible. I have the probes in, and the probe for the ham, and I'm going to be monitoring the temperature. And notice I have the probe here, again, close to the meat. I don't really care what the temperature is over here. The meat's here, and this is where I'm most concerned about what the temperature is. So I'll be monitoring that electronically. I have my water pan here. It's ready to go. Hot water, always want to put hot water in. So we'll have that poured in there. Good to go. And now we'll just close it up and we'll monitor it throughout the cook. We're about an hour and 45 minutes into the cook. And right now we're at about 95 degrees, not actually 97 degrees internal temperature. And what I think I'm going to do right now is add that piece of foil that I talked about earlier, just to keep the face of the ham from getting too charred. So I'm just going to add that like that. And what I think I'll do here in about an hour or so is come back, see how things are looking, see what our internal temperature is, and we will give it a spritz at that point. We'll see you in a bit. We're 3 hours into the cook, a little bit longer than that, and just want to get a vector check on our temperature. Use my ThermaPen digital thermometer and just see where things are. I want to pull this out a little bit, get a good readout in the center of the ham, and it's showing at 129 degrees internal right now. So we're about 16 degrees out from our goal of 145. Meantime, I'm going to give it a nice spritz here of apple cider vinegar just to keep things moist. It's looking good, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to move this back into position, center my water pan, and then put my foil back in place. And then we will check in one more time prior to the cook ending, and we'll see how things are going then. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, according to my temperature gauges, it's telling me it's at 145. Let's just do a double check with the ThermaPen. 146, slides right in. So we will take it out. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to take this and move it into the kitchen. And what I'm going to do is wrap this in aluminum foil, and we are going to let that rest for about 30 minutes and let those juices flow back into the center because the heat pushed them out. We'll let the rest take care of the juices, and we'll get it inside and get it wrapped. We'll see you inside. So I have the ham in the kitchen here, and what I'm going to do is wrap it in some heavy-duty aluminum foil, just like this, and then I'm going to set it aside. We will let that rest for about 30 minutes, and we will come back and slice it up and see how things look. 30 minutes later. The ham is done resting. It had a 30-minute rest. So let's now open this up and see what the final product looks like. Okay, before I cut anything, I always like to take my Victorinox slicing knife and give it a few swipes over this little miniature sharpener just to keep the knife in good tip-top shape before I actually dive into doing any kind of carving. Always want it to be as sharp as possible. So we'll open this up and we'll see what we have. Okay, so again, we took that to 145 and let's give it a slice. Now, basically, this front piece is going to come off and more than likely won't eat that, as well as this back piece here. So let's just go ahead and give this a slice, and I want to keep this as thin as possible because I don't want to waste too much of the ham. And we're just going to set that aside, and now we will go ahead and cut a few slices and see how things went. It's slicing very well, and no resistance. It's got good color in there, and you can see the moisture on the board and coming out of some of the holes here from where the probe was. And so we'll just continue on here. I'll take a slice here from the middle, kind of show you how the actual middle turned out. And you can see that it looks good. It's moist, and I'm pretty happy with that. So all in all, I think this cook went well, and I'm going to continue to slice this up. And I think it's time that we go ring the dinner bell and let everybody know it's time to eat. Now, if you planned just to have the ham cooked in full, but you wanted to hold it to the next day, if you're planning a party and you want to cook ahead, what you can do is go ahead and do everything that we did today and then put it in the refrigerator overnight. And then to reheat it, what you want to do is to take a roasting pan like this and then put a cooling rack inside of it and on top of it. Fill the bottom of the pan with some water and put the ham on top. Wrap the whole thing tightly in aluminum foil, and then you want to put it in the oven at 325 degrees and heat it up till you get an internal temperature of 135 degrees. And basically the goal is to reheat the ham without drying it out. Again, I am happy with the way that this twice smoked, double smoked ham, if you will, turned out. I believe the maple wood was a nice complement to the hickory smoke flavor that was already in the ham. So it is I got a nice flavor profile in the end that I'm happy with. And I'm not going to do a taste test. I never do on my channel because I can't offer you a bite to eat. So I'm not going to eat in front of you. But I believe if you follow the technique that I showed you in today's video, that you will be happy with the taste and the tenderness and the texture of the ham. And so when you go to do your taste test of your ham, that you will be happy as well. So no taste test on my part here today, but I am going to give this the Grill Father Johnny L stamp of approval. Hey everyone, thanks for watching today. Really appreciate it. Hope you found today's video helpful. You do me the favor of hitting the like and subscribe buttons and also the notification bell so that you know when new videos of mine come out, and also share this video with a family member or friend. Until next time, take care, God bless, and smoke on.